Dear friends, welcome back. This is episode number 91. We are dealing with section 2.2 and the decisions thereon. I will cite a Supreme Court judgment 1983 3 SCC 15 parallel citation AER 1983 Supreme Court 676 Madan Naik and others versus Musammat Hansubala Devi and others. There the question was whether a suit is abated on account of non-implement of the legal representatives of a deceased party in a suit, in an appeal. Whether a second appeal lies. Two aspects are there. If a decree is there, it is appealable under section 96. And the aggrieved party can file a second appeal also under section 100, provided there is a substantial question of law to be urged. That is section 100. Then 101, no second appeal on no other grounds other than those mentioned in 100. No, 102 says that no second appeal shall lie from a decree where it is a money suit where the valuation does not exceed 25,000 rupees. That is a new provision, 99/2002. 104(2) says no appeal shall lie from any order passed in appeal under this section. No appeal shall lie from any order passed in appeal under this section. So, if it is a decree, there is an appeal under section 96 and a second appeal under section 100, provided there must be substantial question of law. And if it is a money suit, valuation is about 25,000 rupees. If the trial court passes an order, it would be appealable only if an appeal is provided under section 104 and order 43 rule 1 or elsewhere in some other provisions. There are some other provisions where it is deemed to be decree, deemed to be an order, this and that. Otherwise, an order passed by a civil court will not be appealable unless it is provided so in section 104 and order 43 rule 1 or order 43 rule 1. Whereas it is not necessary in the case of a decree, it is appealable, section 96 automatic, and second appeal also lies, it is automatic provided it is on a substantial question of law, and if it is a money suit it exceeds 25,000 rupees. 104(2) provides that no further appeal if it is an order. So if a decree is there, normally there will be an appeal and a second appeal on limited grounds. If it is an order, it is appealable only if it is provided. Suppose it is provided and an appeal is filed. That is decided against the appellant. Can he file a second appeal? No. Why? Because 104(2) says no further appeal. Here, what is decided by the Supreme Court in Madan Naik's case is whether what happens if an abatement takes place and a suit is decided on the basis of that abatement, whether a second appeal lies. That is a question. But certain principles are mentioned. That is why I cited this. And therefore I also invite your attention to episodes 2 and 3 of CPC, so that you will get a correct idea of what is Order 22, death, marriage and insolvency of parties. If a person dies, a suit is filed by A against B. During the pendency of the suit, B dies. A dies, let us take it. A dies. A's legal representatives are to be impleaded if the right to sue survives. That is Rule 1. And his LRs are to be impleaded as provided in Rule 3 of Order 22. Within how much time? 90 days. That is provided in Article 120 of the Limitation Act. If that is not done, suit abates. Then the party has got 60 days time to get the abatement set aside. If 90 plus 60 days are over, then occurs delay. Then also impleadment can be done, but only after setting aside the abatement and condoning the delay under Section 5 of the Limitation Act. So Article 120 and 121 and the provisions of Order 22 are to be read together, studied together, and it may be helpful. Episodes 2 and 3 of the CPC, which my lectures may be helpful to you. Then Rule 2 of Order 22 provides that when the legal representatives are already on the party array, for example, A files a suit against B, C, D and E. C to E are the wife and children of A, the first defendant. First defendant dies. His LRs are there already on the party array. Then there is no abatement and there is no question of impleading. Then it is only recording. That is in Rule 2. Rule 3 provides for impleading the legal representative where sole plaintiff or one of the plaintiffs dies. Rule 4 provides for impleadment of the legal representatives of the deceased defendant or one of the defendants. I am not dilating it. And what is the nature of the abatement? Whether the court has to pass an order that the suit is abated or whether it is automatic. What is the nature of it? Whether it is a decree, whether a second appeal lies. Going by Rule 11, this provision will apply to appeals also. So suppose a suit is filed by A against B. It is decreed. B files a regular appeal under Section 96. During the pendency of the appeal, the opposite party dies. Respondent dies. His LRs are to be impleaded, otherwise there will be abatement. And if the abatement, there is an order regarding abatement, and then whether a second appeal lies thereunder. That will not. These are the questions which are decided by the Supreme Court. Now, I invite your attention to paragraphs 5, 8, 5 and 8 of this decision Madan Naik. 5 and 8. I'll just read a few sentences. Order 22 Rule 11 is referred to. If no such substitution is sought, the appeal will abate. In the appeal also, it is necessary to implead the legal representatives if one of the party dies. Within the time prescribed, it is to be done. If no such substitution is sought, the appeal will abate. Sub-Rule 2 of Rule 9 of Order 22 enables the party who is under an obligation to seek substitution, etc. Now, where an application for setting aside abatement is made, but the court having not been satisfied with the party seeking to set aside the abatement was prevented by sufficient cause from continuing the appeal, the court may decline to set aside the abatement. Then the net result would be that the appeal would stand disposed of as having abated. It may be mentioned that no specific order for abatement of a proceeding under one of the other provisions of Order 22 is envisaged. The abatement takes place on its own force by passage of time, by efflux of time. In fact, a specific order is necessary under Order 22 Rule 9 for setting aside abatement. Where do you get the word abate? Order 22 Rule 3 says, Rule 3.2 says, where within the time limited by the law no application is made under Sub-Rule 1, the suit shall abate. Rule 4.3, where within the time limited by law no application is made under Sub-Rule 1, the suit shall abate. So abatement takes place on its own. It is not necessary for the court to pass an order on that. On the other hand, if the abatement is there and setting aside abatement is applied for, there an order has to be passed by the court, either setting aside or declining to set aside. Then paragraph 8, decree etc. Abatement of appeal does not imply abatement of an appeal does not imply adjudication on merits, and hence a specific provision had to be made in Order 22 Rule 9.1 that no fresh suit could be brought on the same cause of action. Such a provision is there in Rule 9. Same cause of action, no fresh suit. Once the suit abates, no fresh suit on the same cause of action. Therefore, when an appeal abated, there was no decree disposing of the first appeal. Only courts open to move the court for setting aside the abatement. An order under Order 22 Rule 9.2 CPC refusing to set aside an abatement is specifically appealable under Order 43 Rule 1K. That is appeal from an order. Such an adjudication, if it can be so styled, would not be a decree as defined in Section 2.2. CPC 100 provides for second appeal to the High Court from every decree passed in appeal by any court subordinate to the High Court on the grounds therein set out. What is worthy of notice is that second appeal lies against a decree passed in appeal. An order under Order 22 Rule 9 is appealable as an order, would not be a decree, and therefore no second appeal would lie against that order. Such an appeal is liable to be rejected as incompetent. This is a point decided. But Order 22 Rule 9, Order 22 Rules 1 to 4, 2 to 4, etc. are also dealt with there, and it is said that two aspects. One, no specific order is necessary when the abatement takes place. Then two, it is not a decree. Sorry. These are the 2 points which we have to bear in mind after reading the Supreme Court judgment. This Supreme Court judgment. Next is 78-2 SCC. 1978-2 SCC. 116. Parallel citation AIR 1978 Supreme Court. 537. Mrs. Sandhya Rani Sarkar. Mrs. Sandhya Rani Sarkar versus Srimati Sudha Rani Devi. Sudha Rani Devi and others. A suit for specific performance. It was decreed. Decree was passed in 1962. An appeal was filed in 1968. Purchaser was directed to deposit the balance consideration. The question is, whether there was an adjudication and whether the appeal is within time. The right to ask for specific performance of contract would be adjudicated upon, and in fact in this case it was adjudicated upon. The trial court did call upon the defendant to execute the conveyance on receipt of consideration. Such a decree could never be said to be preliminary decree. That is a point which was decided. A specific performance suit decreed directed the opposite party to directed the buyer to deposit the balance consideration, and the other party on payment of that amount, on deposit of that amount, to execute the conveyance, whether it amounts to a preliminary decree. Appeal was filed. If it is a final decree proceedings, there is no limitation. That is a point involved. Here, the decree is in 1962, the appeal was filed in 1968, and a contention was raised that what was passed in 1962 is a preliminary decree, and a final decree can be filed any time. The trial court did call upon the defendant to execute the conveyance on receipt of consideration. Such a decree could never be said to be preliminary decree. If the defendant vendor was contesting the right of the plaintiff to ask for specific performance, and that was concluded adverse to her, and if the vendor wanted to challenge the finding, it was incumbent upon her to prefer an appeal within the prescribed period of limitation. Similarly, it is also not possible to entertain a contention that the orders extending the time to deposit the balance consideration would result in amending the decree, and an appeal is preferred after the last amendment. The appeal would be within time. It cannot be assumed. The present respondent, if she wanted to question the decree directing her to execute the conveyance, ought to have preferred the appeal against the decree dated 62. That was not done, and it was obviously preferred in 1968, was barred by time. What all contentions, innovative ideas. So these are all the things which young lawyers have to look into when we read these decisions. Ingenuity of lawyers. Yes. Next is AER 1975 Kerala 16. AER 1975 Kerala 16. Parallel citation ILR 1973 2 Kerala 472. Damodaran and others versus Keshavan Kutty and others. See, decided by Justice Subramaniam Potty and Justice Bhaskaran. Subramaniam Potty is a brilliant judge. And what was decided? Decision on disputed questions. Whether that would amount to decree or only where adjudication of rights are involved. That is the crux of the contention. A decree is defined in section 2.2. It is not every decision on every matter that comes up before court that would amount to a decree. The court during the pendency of the suit is called upon to decide on various matters in dispute between the parties. In every such decision, there is adjudication. But in order to constitute a decree in the adjudication, in order to constitute a decree, the adjudication must, so far as the court expressing it concerned, conclusively determine the rights of parties, etc., etc., all those things. In other words, the decision on disputed questions in the suit do not by themselves constitute decrees, but it is only adjudication of the rights and a formal expression thereof that amounts to a decree. Interlocutory applications will be there, the court decides it, passes orders. That will not amount to an adjudication within to constitute a decree. Para 4, 3, I read, a small portion I read. Para 4, when the court considers a commissioner's report during the pendency of a suit before it for the purpose of determining whether the report should be accepted or not, it does not and it should not tie its own hands in the matter of disposal of the suit finally, irrespective of the data furnished in the report. In other words, the mere acceptance by the court does not necessarily oblige the court to adopt the report wholly or in part in the final adjudication. Whatever that be, the order before us was only orders passed by the court on the objection to Commissioner's report. These orders cannot amount to decree, and these orders are not appealable under any of the provisions of the court. Several findings were made when an application was dealt with on the objection of the Commissioner's report. There may be adjudication, but still what is passed is objection, the finding of the court on objection to the Commissioner's report. That will not amount to a decree. This is the distinction between decree and order that is mentioned. So I think we will see in the next episode, because time is running out. We will see in the next episode. Thank you.